Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong, and I wanted to show you a new art journal that I just finished. It is called Keep Singing, and it's all about self-love. I decided to stick with just 2 or 3 colors from a paint palette, and it's sort of a mustardy yellow, kind of like ochre, I guess. And then there is a rusty orange and black. I had my distress ink from Tim Holtz, the black and the vintage photo, and I just used mostly library card catalog cards to tear up for the paper. But you can see here on the front it says keep singing. We have a lot of inky spots and a lot of water drips. There is some faint stamping in here with ink stamps, and I didn't try to get those perfect. In fact, they kind of just fade into the watercolor paper. And this is watercolor paper, by the way. I would say these are about 5 by 7 pieces, something along those lines. I have some flower stamps that I really loved, so I used the black ink on those stamps to stamp on the library cards, and then I cut them out and glued them in different spots through the journal. This page says, "Everyone needs quiet amidst the noise of life." I practiced making marks in here and just doing some free stitching with some embroidery thread. And then on this page, you can see I did work somewhat to line up these flowers that were stamped and cut down. There's just a cluster here of torn paper and some fabric scraps that have some paint stains on them. Here's another part of a flower and another cluster here. These are just stitched by hand. This page says embrace your own unique style. And these are just some circles that were painted with the rusty orange watercolor paint, and then I came back and scribbled around those with a black watercolor pencil. There are pages that also have some black ink pen marks on them. You can see more of the stamping. Again, that's the large flower stamp, and this time what I did was the stamp had already been used once in the vintage photo, so I came back and painted the stamp with water and just set it down on the page to let whatever was there come off. It really made almost like a nice bond between the stamp and the paper, which I didn't want it to stick. But it was kind of satisfying to pull that apart and see the color underneath. It didn't quite take completely here. And this page, there's some fabric that's been stapled and glued into place. We just have some freehand stitching here. Another ink stamp that's got a lot of splotching and water staining around it. Surround yourself with things you love. And again, you can see some scribbling and just some mark making with the paintbrush. And then this is the last full page. Again, more stamps from the flower stamp. And you can see the stitches here that are coming through from the other side. The back part of the, oh, it looks like that one caught around the edge. I think I'm just gonna leave that. I didn't realize that was like that. This is part of a circle that I made by just sitting my water cup down on the paper and tracing around it with a paintbrush. I cut it into a half circle, and then I cut a smaller circle, and everything is stained up and grungy here, as you can see that. Love Yourself is written on this tag, and you can see I've stapled a little piece of torn paper there. And when you flip it over, it says, and let your choices show it. This is so important. I'm kind of deconstructing not only from an abusive marriage, but really a cult-like religious setting where, and I'm sure that was one of the reasons the abusive marriage lasted as long as it did. You can say you love yourself, but you can be making choices that don't reflect that love. So, don't be afraid to make choices that reflect that you care about yourself, even if it feels like you're asking too much. You know, as long as you're not hurting anybody, and I'm not saying don't help others. I'm not saying don't say yes to things that benefit you and other people. Just ask yourself sometimes if you're cutting yourself short or selling yourself short, and ask yourself, where is that coming from? That might feel like too much information, but self-love is very important. You can see there are just some ink splatters there from the paintbrush. I love just working with these 3 colors. Some of the paper you can see is not colored at all. It's just still the white watercolor paper. And that led me to write this quote in the front about everyone needs quiet amidst the noise of life. There's nothing wrong with some white space at times. And then on the back, I really love how this turned out. We have just a lot of inky stains here, and there is a stamp that didn't completely take. And again, I wanted these to feel faded into the watercolor paper. I wasn't going for a very defined stamped image. So we have this ink that traveled up into the lower half of her face, and I actually dabbed some of the color off of that corner. We have a cluster here of, again, the library card and just some torn scrap paper with the stitching going through there. And then I stitched a piece of netting on here. And then look at that. It did totally catch around the corner, that stitch there. I didn't realize that. There was one point when I pulled on the thread and it felt like it was stuck, but I didn't see that. I did turn it over at one point and I totally missed that. Maybe what I will do is put a little bit of glue up here to hold it so it doesn't pop loose. I kind of like that there like that. So this is the back. The only thing left to do, place my birdsong stamp there, which looks amazing with that black ink. This is currently for sale in my Ko-fi shop. This Keep Singing journal about self-love is $40, and that includes postage in the US, free shipping in the US. So it is linked there right now if you're interested in supporting my channel and my work and having this piece of artwork. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back really soon. I'm putting together more fun packs, and bye for now.